do amazing things with AI in terms of social media, posting, business automation.
Is the person doing a freelancing, and now all of a sudden he thought like, okay, I want to build out an agency. I want to have more clients on board and grow it further.
Different, and I think Google are looking at semantically related keywords, and Google are looking at content differently.
Holds us back to growing an agency because we are more into the operations all the time rather than sales and marketing.
In the middle, and I've got all of these people round about me, and I don't think that's really a great way to get scalability.
Common SEO mistakes or kind of thing you see like the agencies are going through right now, how they can really go and avoid. Welcome to the Agency Growth Lab. I'm your host, Rohindu, and today we are thrilled to have a very special guest joining us, Craig Campbell from craigcampbell.com, who is a renowned expert, digital marketing expert, a speaker, and of course, an SEO as well. So Craig is here today to share his insights and experiences with us. So yeah, welcome to the show, Craig. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, mate. It's pleasure to catch up as always. So
yeah. So yeah, I do remember. I met you a couple of times. I remember there was once at the SEO Rockstar, and maybe a couple of times up at the Chiang Mai as well. So yeah, it's great to talk to you. You're kind of a guy who always has something new to talk about. So yeah, I can. So we're gonna talk about kind of an SEO, what kind of things are going on. AI, especially because the whole industry has been changed since the AI has come through. And I'm going to take some of your experiences for the agency growth as well, because you're kind of a big deal when it comes to growing an agency and taking to the next level. So yeah, Craig, really quickly, man, can you share a bit about your journey in the SEO and digital marketing industry? Was that always be a passion to be an SEO? Probably not. So yeah, how everything like got around. So yeah.
So I definitely didn't even know what SEO was when I was getting into it. So I started out as a really shitty web designer, and I just wasn't very good at it. So SEO was the next best thing that I wanted to try, and it was obviously early 2000s, and digital marketing, the internet was new as well for me. So I just had a bit of a interest in the online thing just because it was new, and then fell into the SEO side of things, and I've been stuck there ever since. So yeah, I didn't aspire to be one. I didn't even know what it was, and just played around online, messed around with websites, and then here we have it. All of these years later, I'm still trying to tell people that I'm an SEO.
I can imagine. I'm like, but everything was moving around because I've seen you a lot being flying around from one place to another, attending the conferences kind of thing. How did that thing actually come into the play? Because majority of the SEOs we come across, they always prefer to have their agency, just work and that thing, growing the agency only. But you took a different path of the educating the people as well. So how was that thing?
So I had the agency for probably close to 12, 13 years prior to then building a personal brand. So I'd done the agency, I'd made all the mistakes, I had dealt with all the clients and all the usual stuff, and decided round about 2015 that the agency life wasn't for me personally. So I decided to follow in Matthew Woodward's steps, who I'm sure you know of, and decided to do affiliate marketing and do a bit of speaking and try and help other people based on the experience that I had. And it's worked out reasonably well for me. So yeah, completely copied what Matthew Woodward was doing, and that was he was living the dream while I was in the agency, with all the stress and staff problems and just client problems, all the usual crap that you get from agency life. And I was hating it, absolutely hated it. So I changed my approach, and it's worked out a lot better.
Yeah. No, Matthew Woodward's a pretty intelligent guy. He's back into the game now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's no every kind of thing we try to learn it from his processes. What I've seen are very simplified, and so is yours. Because so when let's say you're going to the conferences or you're on a interviews like that. So, what are the most common SEO mistakes or kind of thing you see like the agencies are going through right now? How they can really go and avoid that? Because they really want to grow, but they don't really know that what is really holding them back, and they just get into the same plateau status. So what are those mistakes you reckon?
I think most of the time, those mistakes come down to the processes within the agency.
Yep,
People don't have good SOPs for staff to follow,
yep,
and I think that is one of the biggest, systemization and stuff like that. I see a lot of agency owners who done what I done. I built myself into the agency, so I'm stuck in the middle, and I've got all of these people round about me, and I
yep,
don't think that's really a great way to get scalability. You need to be able to delegate. You need to have the right team round about you. You need to give them the right training, the right tools, the right processes. And any time that I speak to an agency owner and you ask them about, their processes, there's
yeah,
none there. They're just making it up as they go along. They're like, yeah, I buy
exactly.
citations from this dude, and I buy a PBN from that dude, and I'll buy some digital PR from this dude, and you're just like, fucking hell, dude. It's just, this is
Hey,
some jackass. There's no real structure, no real process involved in what you do. And I think when that's not there, you hit that plateau, you get to whatever that figure may be, and then things become really messy. And you can't really get past. I don't know. Let's say it's 20 or 30,000 pounds a month.
yeah,
As a freelancer, I think you get to that level, and then you hire staff, and that's when shit starts to go wrong because the stuff's not been done properly, or it's done of a real low standard. And the agency owner tends not to check that stuff out either. There's no quality control, so they're just stressed out. They need to deliver something for the clients,
yeah,
and that's where it's you end up looking at it and you're like, fuck, that's AI, that's crap. These links are shit, and you're not actually offering value for money. And that is common practice. I think most of us who have built an agency have just built an agency just because we thought it was the right thing to do. They're not really trained in business or managing people or any of that kind of stuff. And I think that's where, further training or mentorship or whatever it may be is required. I certainly I see that as where I failed because I didn't know that, SOPs and all of that kind of stuff weren't as big a thing when I had an agency. So
yeah,
when I think back, I used to have post-it notes all around my screen with all the shit that I had to do. It was
yep,
just messy as hell, and I had to be involved in everything. I didn't trust the staff enough to do their job properly,
yeah.
so the delegation wasn't right. So yeah, it was just a
So
horrible
do you really
change.
think because it's kind of insecurity, I would say, the most of the agency owners they have got that whatever I can do good, the others can't really do good. Maybe because
Yeah.
it's my business, I'm more responsible about it. So every time I'm gonna do it perfectly with the champ. So do you think it's really a good idea? Because it just holds us back to growing an agency because we are more into the operations all the time rather than sales and marketing kind of a thing. So what's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I definitely think, you've mentioned the word insecurity. I would have said it was my ego.
Okay. Hey,
It's whatever, it's same thing. And you think what you do is the best and no one can beat you. And I think that's the perfect scenario that was in my head. I just felt that no one could do better than me.
true.
But that meant I was doing all of the work, and you cannot grow and scale a business when you're doing all of the fucking work.
Yeah,
That is just madness to think that. So again, I think, when it was your first entry into the business world and it's your business, it's your thing. You don't want to let it go. And I think that's really difficult to get your head around, is, letting go of some control. And I think that's the key part
Perfect.
of it. All your ego gets
Yeah.
in the way.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what I feel.
Yeah, so let's take a hypothetical scenario. Someone is just gone and he was kind of a freelancing, because I know like you mentioned you were doing kind of a freelancing at one time when you thought to build out your agency. So scenario is the person doing a freelancing and now all of a sudden he thought like, okay, I want to build out an agency. I want to have more clients on board and grow it further. What the perfect scenario would be in that case? Do he really go and hire the people and start spending more time with them, or do he has to put them on the side and have to focus 100% on marketing and sales and use the vendors for outbound? So what do you think could be the best scenario would be if Craig Campbell has to go back, have to get into the agency model again? What you gonna do from your experience now?
I think the clever way of doing things would be to find the right vendors to do the work and you do the sales and marketing.
Yep.
Now, we all know there's vendors for everything out there, whether that be social media
Yep.
posts, whatever. So I think utilizing a vendor, and the reason that I say a vendor is it works out a lot cheaper, and you're paying per task rather than a salary for
Yep.
people who may or may not be lazy.
Yep.
Um, and I think, I see a lot of people now. I've got friends who have agencies who do not have one real member of staff. They're all overseas workers.
Yep.
They go on Slack and they do their thing. So that
Do the
for
thing.
me, when I set out with my agency, I had an office and I had everyone locally. I tried to hire local
Yeah.
people,
So
and I
that's
found that really difficult because the
heads up pretty
skills
high.
weren't there. Yeah,
Yeah.
the skills weren't there either. And
Yeah.
uh, I think we all know, for example, Eastern Europe, for example, are really good at development.
Yep.
India are good at development and software, but
Excellent.
India or the Philippines are not native English speakers, so you wouldn't give them content to do. So we
Yep.
would utilize someone in South Africa, for example, where the cost of living is a lot less than the UK. So you're getting a native English speaker at a third of the price you would pay in the UK. So I think a lot of these things I would consider differently. Whereas before I was like, no, it has to be a local guy that sat in my office. And it,
Good
it
manage.
basically didn't allow me to pick the best talent. And I think now we can, you can have an Indian guy doing this and a Bulgarian guy doing that and a
Yep.
South African guy doing this. So I think that's the clever way that I would try and set myself up.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. And all right, let's go a little more deeper into this agency stuff. So what you reckon could be one of the best lead generation method could be these days for any agency? Because people, they open up the agency, but they struggle all the time to get the quality leads for them to grow it further. What's your way of doing that, or you have to recommend?
I think, gone are the days where you can just generate leads doing the minimal amount of marketing. To generate leads, I see people doing Facebook ads,
Oh,
but there's always a hook. Whether that be a free audit, a free analysis, you've got to have something. But for me, you've got to offer some form of value up front to demonstrate your knowledge or expertise.
yes.
Why would someone come to you out of the a million other guys that are out there? You have to stand out from the crowd. And for me, whether you're doing Facebook ads, whether you're doing YouTube, whether you organically are doing this through social media, it doesn't matter. You've got to offer value up front. And for me, there's a million of me, a million of you, and a million of everyone else. So we have to demonstrate knowledge and expertise. And that comes from doing podcasts, doing YouTube,
Yep.
doing stuff on Facebook, and it's not always comfortable for everyone to put themselves out there. You know, it was it's not something, I mean, I do it a lot, and people go, fuck, you know, he does it all the time. What's he talking about? I
Yeah.
don't particularly want to sit in a podcast. I don't
Yeah.
particularly want to sit on a video and sell, you know, whatever it might be. But
Agree.
if that's your way to earning money, then you've got to do it. And I think for a lot of people, that's putting them in an uncomfortable
Yep.
position. And I think that's what you have to do now. You have to put yourself out there if you want the leads to be inbound. Sure,
Mhm.
you can do LinkedIn spam or email spam or whatever. I get it in social media every day. Hey, please give me some work. Please, you know, all this
Thanks.
stuff. You know, they say to me, they come to me on Instagram even, your reels are shit. You know, I could do a lot better for $5. And you're like, fucking hell. It's just relentless. And I don't think that's a good way to do business. I think doing more uh, education leads to sales, in my opinion.
Exactly, exactly. No, it's really very important, I guess, to have a omnipresence approach everywhere, especially now these days. There is a plenty of TikTok is one. TikTok is really good
Yeah,
one to generate a good amount of inbound leads, and then of course LinkedIn. I mean, like I was never been active on LinkedIn as such myself, but in the last month I've seen like there is a complete SEO world going on at LinkedIn itself, and the people
yeah,
there doing a lot of knowledge sharing and that kind of things going on over there, which kind of are missing what I've seen in most of the Facebook groups now. So the LinkedIn could be the another way of generating a huge amount of leads if we know, I mean, like how we need to go spend the time, and especially delivering out the value as well, like you said. So yeah,
yeah,
it is really very important that we should be having a giving away kind of an attitude rather than
yeah.
like taking away kind of thing all the time. So yeah, it is important. And how about AI? Do you think like AI can help any way in this process to generate the kind of a content we need, or it could be like lead magnets, maybe ebooks or that kind of thing? What do you think about it?
I think AI is a great tool. You know, like you say, for ebooks, you know, you could churn out an ebook, bang, bang, bang. You know, you could do a lot with it very simply and very easily. The unfortunate thing for us as SEO people is it's not there when it comes to content. If you get what I mean, we know that Google hates AI content. We know that Google hates plagiarized content. So trying to use it straight from AI onto a website does not work. I've tried it, I've tested it, it doesn't work.
Yep.
However, you can use it to speed up the writing process, and you can, you know, add some human edits. You can run it through Surfer or POP or whatever you choose to use. So I think using AI to improve efficiency and speed for sure. And I think you can do amazing things with AI in terms of social media posting, you know, business automation. There's lots of different things where I think it really, really is good.
Oh yeah.
However, the big thing for me as an SEO is content is the big bugbear we all have, and too
Exactly.
many people still are trying to make this AI content work. And we've seen it with the updates, the helpful content updates. Websites are sliding.
Yeah,
Um,
didn't recover either.
yeah, and it just doesn't work. It's that simple. But
Right.
it can work if you refine the SOP and make sure that your process, you know, like for me, I will use AI to make a skeleton of the article. I
Yep.
will then get a human editor to edit it. I will then run it through Surfer. I'll then run it through Grammarly, and then a little bit more editing, and then boom, you know, it should be good to go. It should be original. It should be unique. It should
Yep.
offer value, and
Yep.
that
So
part of it
Do
is important.
you think it's actually a good idea? Like, because there are two type of people what I've seen. The one is the entire community which say, "Hey, AI content is shit. It's not really going to work," and all that. There is another one which say, "No, no, AI content is good to get the factual information, get the article first draft written, and then send it to the editors to go and read the article, make the necessary tweaks and all that kind of thing." So you still reckon, as I believe, like that kind of a content still has got a potential to rank better on SERPs, which is having some kind of like a editorial process involved.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it works for me. So,
All right.
you know, and I think Google have said it's not that they hate AI content. Sure, you can use AI content, but there are other parts of tweaking in that process that you have to do in order for that content to be seen as valuable.
Yeah.
And I think that's the area that a lot of people miss out on. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I think that's where the biggest problem is. The people, they just take a lazy approach and they feel it like, okay, it's more easy to just put in like 1,000 titles into the software, press the button and let it blast like thousands of articles within a week.
yeah,
Website.
it's
I mean, like I did that kind of a testing myself as well, but it never worked for me. Or even if it has worked, the spike is like whoop, and then it
yeah,
goes
yeah,
down
yeah,
a few days. It's never be like a consistent. Otherwise, you remember those affiliate marketing days. I mean, like back in 2016, 17, when the Amazon affiliate marketing was up at the prime, and
yeah,
then we used to rank the articles in a normal editorial ways, like doing a proper SEO tweaks and all that. And that article stick there for years. I mean, like, or maybe at least months. So I
yeah.
guess this is where maybe we guys need to go back to the old school process and have to start using it. But we can take a help of a AI to add more factual information into those rather than just writing any garbage. So I agree to this. Just a very final question of the about the agency growth is like there is a way most of people I've seen is where they go and acquire the different agencies to grow their agency. Do you really think
Mhm.
it's a good idea? And do you prefer this kind of a thing to invest in the different brands to grow our own brand?
It's not something I have personally done, buying up other agencies. I think it's a perfectly good business model. If you understand business and finance, I mean, you can normally buy another agency with
Yep.
their own money,
Yep.
if you know what you're doing. So, you're buying them with their own money. There is that risk of whether the clients stay on board. It is a gamble. So you could buy an agency with their own money. And obviously, there's earnouts and there's various other bits and bobs in place where if the agency doesn't make this, you don't have to pay that. So I think it's a fairly eh, it's risky, but not risky at the same time. I think you have to put your head on the line and offer some kind of gamble, some money.
Yep.
But essentially, I think, if you wanted growth and you couldn't be bothered doing it, can you go and buy another agency and get another 30 or 40 clients on board? Of course you can. And then basically just plug in your processes, your system, and everything else. So I think it can work very well. It's just not something that I've personally done. I've been involved in, friends who've got agencies that have either sold or bought or acquired. Um, so I think it's not bad. It's not bad, but I think there is an element of risk there because
Oh
clients
yeah.
drop off
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's
No.
nothing you can do about it. And you'd need to be very confident in your processes and your system and your sales and everything else.
Yeah.
And I think 1 out of 10 people that you see out there are probably able to make that successful. I think a lot of the guys who are buying stuff are just doing it so that they can tell their mates down the pub, yeah, I've
Uh,
acquired another agency and I've done
yeah.
this and I've done that. And it actually goes pear-shaped. So I would say the success stories in that type of model are on the lower end of the scale. But yeah, good luck to people for trying.
Trying there, yeah. Now, all right. Let's have a bit of a talk about the SEO side before we conclude. Is like AI, like we said, it's been changing the entire thing. What is Craig's your way of doing the things at the moment when it comes to content outlines? I know a lot of people they're different because there are a lot of flashy terms going on around in the market as well, which as semantics. I think like every second guy is talking about the semantic SEO these days, and especially a lot of people from next to our India, Pakistan. I guess like the entire Pakistan is doing the semantic SEO at the moment. So, all right, won't go into that. But what's your thoughts about that? Is that really, don't you think the whole scenario is getting more complicated these days?
I think, yeah, I mean, it's not the same as it was, 10, 15 years ago where you just put out a page of content and, you know, fuck it, it really didn't matter what it said.
Right.
You know, I think Google have become cleverer. You know, we've got tools that, you know, that allow us to add in semantically related keywords. We've got to build out topical clusters, and there's a lot of talk around all of that kind of stuff. Do I believe all of that stuff works? 100%. I genuinely do. I think the barrier to entry in terms of what it was 15 years ago to the you know, to what it is now, I think is different. And I think Google are looking at semantically related keywords, and you know, Google are looking at content differently. And you know, you've got your guys like Corey out there, you know, talking all about semantics and on page, and it's very hard to disagree with when you see his case studies. You're like, there has to be something in it. You know, do I like to go to that level of depth? No. It means
No.
it's more work for us. We are all lazy bastards, and we, you know, especially the old school SEOs where, you know,
Right.
things were a lot easier. So do you really have to go to that level of depth is the big question. And I believe in competitive markets, that can be the difference for sure. Do you have to do that on a local level? No, you don't, because the competition are not doing it. So it's for me, when you need to implement that type of strategy, does it have to happen on a local level or for in certain countries that are easier to rank? No, because I also think that like the UK and the US, the algorithms that are there are a lot more aggressive than they maybe are in, I don't know, Italy,
Yeah.
Poland, Spain. I think you know, when I look at these kind of SERPs, it's like SEO from 10 years ago. So again, do I need to go to the cost of implementing such an aggressive strategy in Italy, for example? Nah, I don't. And or do I need to do it for a local plumber? Absolutely not. So I think there's a time and a place for it. I genuinely do think it works. And if that's, let's say I'm going head to head with you, and you're
Yeah.
building links and you're doing this and you're doing that, you know, if my only way of beating you is doing better on page and, you know, building topical clusters and adding semantically related keywords, you better believe that I'm prepared to go to that level to win. I will do whatever it takes to win. But if I can get away with it and I can beat you on links alone, then I'm happy to
Oh,
only
yeah.
apply that to the
Right. No,
strategy.
and especially like if we are doing the things that probably we can try to bang around and try to do it, but we need to accept the fact that 99% of the time it's our teams who are really doing the back end stuff. So are they really going to take that much pain of following that complete framework to do the entire thing, those vectors and that kind of thing? Because you need to have a very educated team for that
Yeah.
one, and for that kind of a team you obviously need to have more engineers kind of a people doing the SEOs, which is not the fact. Most of the time you train them. So yeah, I completely agree with you. If it's a very long term kind of a project night like a nerd wallet or something, I probably think it is good idea maybe to get into that much depth. But if it's a locals and all that, so maybe it's not really required. I think like same old school stuff of optimizing the page properly, location page, all thing. I think that can do most of the work very nicely as well.
Yeah, it's all about. I think it was Ted Kubaitis who said that it's the minimum viable effort that goes into it. You know, if we can rank for doing the minimal amount of work, then that's what you do. You don't have to go do all this other stuff.
Yeah.
What's the point?
You do rank and rent kind of things as well?
I used to, but no is the answer. I think rank and rent is one of the, you know, a
Plans.
lot of people talk about it. It's painful. A lot of these guys do not want to rank your jackass website. They don't want to pay you money. They want it for free. So I think, you know, doing lead gen would be a much better business model for you. You know, it's scalable. You know, your earnings are scalable. I just think rank and rent's a bit old school and a bit naff, if I'm being honest.
So when you say lead gen, is that using the LSA ads, local service ads, or is that your creating a website, rank it up to the top of search engine, and then sell out the leads to these
Yeah,
guys. And you reckon
yeah,
that they'll be happy to purchase the leads as well, unless
yeah.
and we sell it to some ring partners.
Yeah, so I think, generating leads and selling them on to these guys is the best way, because if the first guy only can accept 10 leads a month from you, you've got the ability to sell to a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth supplier. So your earnings are not limited. Whereas, if you do rank and rent and the first guy can only really deal with 10 leads, then your income isn't scalable. You're tied.
Yeah,
So I think, as SEOs, we can also use paid ads. We can do local map listings. We can do whatever to generate leads. And as long as we're getting a return on investment, what do you care? If you can spend $1,000 and
yeah,
you get 10,000 back, why wouldn't you continue to do that on a scalable level? So that's where I think the lead gen approach rather than the rank and rent. I just feel that rank and rent is something I'd done at the earlier on in my career, and I think looking back it was just stupid.
yeah.
I'm basically doing all this work, and some guy can pay his invoice when he can be bothered paying it and all that stuff. Nah, that's not how business works, and it's not a fair reflection on uh, my time or my effort. So I think always lead gen would be.
Yeah, yeah. You like PBNs, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Still prefer them.
I think even now, um, when it comes to PBNs and stuff, there's certain markets, and I'm sure because I know you're a PBN fan, certain markets where you just cannot get links. You've no option but to build your own fucking network. That's it. I could go out. Let's say it's the CBD niche.
Yep,
I know that 99% of people are going to say, "Go fuck yourself. You're not getting a link,"
yep,
because it's CBD. So what option have I got? I still need to get links. So I'm going to go out and buy age domains and build an asset on it, and do the PBN route, because that way I'm still getting power, I'm still getting links. I don't have to listen to someone telling me no. Getting told no, I understand why. There's gambling, there's porn, all of these niches get the same
yep.
kickback. But
Yeah,
regardless, if I want to be successful, by hook or by crook, I need that fucking link. And if that means I have to go down the PB route, then that's the route that I would go down. And yeah, I still love a PBN. It's a pain in the ass managing them and setting them up, and they blow up and fucking. It's it's torture. It's torture at the same time. But I think if that's what you need to do in certain industries, then that's what you need to do.
exactly. I agree to this actually. That they are rather than just begging around for the links from people. I think it's more easy to just go create the network, start using that, because for the gray niches, it is actually a little hard to get the links, especially if you're going to get it, you probably either be getting from the link farms, or else they're gonna charge a lot of money for it. So yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is a nightmare. You got a link building agency as well, Craig, aren't you?
Yes.
All right. So how's that doing? Good?
Yeah, it's doing well. It's doing well. We've done the whole guest post and niche
Yeah.
edits, but we now have added in digital PR.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're trying to do outreach to journalists and try and
Yeah.
get some of those kind of top tier links that are harder to get.
Yep.
Uh, so we're doing that as well, and yeah, it's going well. Can't complain.
Yeah, yeah. So when it comes to the PR press releases, like there are the digital PRs, and then there is something which like 200 links or something, 300 links, you're gonna get it. So what do you think about it? Is there like 300 links gonna get indexed as well, or is it just to make us happy that hey, we got a PR done and it is good?
No, so I think there's definitely a requirement for both in the world. I think getting a syndicated PR blast out to two, three, four, 500
Yep.
websites. Can that stuff get indexed? Of course it can. Can it remain in the index? Of course it can. But that's down to you as an SEO, whether you send Money Robot to that, or whether you send cheap PBNs or niche edits, whatever.
Yep.
you know, the job is to try and retain that in the index so that it continues to pass power.
Yep.
Does referring domain count help with SEO? Of course it does. So, you know, I think those PR blasts 100% have a place in the market. However, I would also mix that with the PR that I'm talking about, where it's, you know, real news websites that are a higher tier. You have to
Yep.
pitch the creative angle to get in there. And for me, I think when it comes to link building, I don't want to solely rely on PBNs. You know, I want to use PBNs. I want to use a syndicated blast. I want to use some niche edits. I want to use some automation for even if it's just for indexing reasons. And I want to use some digital PR. I want to have a diverse link building profile so that the referring domain count is up, and all that kind of stuff as well. So I think overall, I think you've got to. I'm not going to sit here and say, because I don't sell syndicated PR. You know, it's not a service that I provide, but I do see value in it, and you know, I've got people who do that for me. And yeah, I think it's got its place in the industry.
That's Hero. That's is it a Hero stuff or direct contact with the journalist itself to secure the backlink? So there are two things. Either you send
So,
the page and get
mhm.
the backlink, or else the second thing is you publish a long form of an article, very well researched and everything on the client website. Then you pitch directly to the journalist and let them know, hey, this is something I've published on my website. It's worth a shout from your stuff. Which one you talking about?
Both.
Oh, okay.
You know, we don't use Harrow. I think Harrow's kind of dead. SEO's fucking abused Harrow for years, to the point where the response, you know, a reporter could ask for information on whatever topic it was, and you'd probably get 5,000 SEOs in your inbox. Take this one, take this one, take this one.
Okay.
You know, we utilize other journalistic databases and reach out to the journalists through
Yep.
various, whether that be in social media, whether that be a nice email. But the important thing is, it can't be a spammy approach. Now, if
Yep.
I send a beauty article, you know, based on makeup or something, to someone, to a journalist who writes about crime, they're not fucking interested.
That,
So that's why you need to make sure that the pitch lands on the right journalist's desk. It's not a spam game, because journalists get pissed off if they see that, you know, Rohan is the guy that fucking bombards them with
yep.
400 pitches a day. You're fucking blocked, and you'll never speak to them again. You're
Hey,
fucking dead.
hey,
So
that's true.
if you slip in to the right person with the right article at the right time, it's more likely to get uptake on it, and that's what these journalistic databases do. But they cost money. Harold didn't, and you know, me, you know, paying for these journalistic databases to get that level of information sets me apart from 99% of the other people who are not paying for that. So that's why a lot of these people, they think poor, and that's why they are poor, because they won't pay for the right data to be able to do the job properly. And it's a really spammy approach. So I think, you know, that's the way you've got to think about it. And if you want to get success, you can get it. You know, just make sure it's not done in sheer volume. Don't get yourself banned. Do not piss off the journalists, and you'll have much better results.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, because it is important that to have a good relationship with these guys, to keep using them again and again. I mean, they're probably going to take the our pitch seriously as well. In that
Yeah.
case, it's easy to grab links, and those links can make a lot of difference as compared to like building out like a huge amount of niche rates or something. They are still important because they help to build a strong topical and geo-relevancy signals. But I guess at the same time, these kind of authority links really help at all.
Yeah.
All right. No, that was great, man. So anyone who really wants to know more about you, who Craig Campbell is, and want to read your stuff, watch your videos, what's the best place for that is, Craig?
If you go to craigcampbellseo.com, or just find me on YouTube. You know, YouTube is the place where I put out a lot of free content,
All right.
webinars, question and answer sessions, tutorials.
Yep.
So that is probably the best if you want to just get information.
Sure. I can put all your stuff in the description of this video once it goes live as well. That
Top
was
man.
a talk we had, Greg. That was actually a good one, and thanks for spilling out all the beans, man. I really appreciate that because yeah, you're always having, like I said, always been something different when what I've seen when you get to the stage. So yeah, it's always good to get this kind of information, especially from the people who are having a lot of exposure with the other big guns in the industry. So yeah, that really matters a lot. So now, thanks for that, sir. I really appreciate your
Pleasure.
time, Craig, and good luck with your future endeavors as well.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.